All right, let's first open up by wishing everybody a happy Lovable Day. For some of you, it's Valentine's Day only. For all of us, it's Lovable Day, and we are running a huge promo. We're doing 50% off new subscriptions, top ups, and upgrades. And each purchase also gets 50 credit bonus that you can give away from somebody for the next 24 hours or even less by the time you're watching this video. So before I even continue, PSA, get right to it. Now let's proceed with day 14 and let's wrap up week 2 by actually building a real app. Similarly how we did it on day 7, and as I hinted before, every Saturday is going to be a building day where we're building a real app that holds up end to end, right? And what you want to build today is entirely up to you. I'm going to work on building an event management app, right? But not because I find it as exciting, it's because they are forcing me to deal with the reality of having real users, authentication, roles, database, proper security, admin interface, and real workflows. So everything that we pretty much went through in this week too. We've defined a bunch of things. Now we're going to build on top of them. First step, as usual, lovable.dev, open it up, and then let's go back. And I'm going to take my mega prompt to start the build. If you don't want that, you know already that you have the fast track, the builder that I used on day 10 and day 11. So you can use that one to, again, define your problem statement. And you can choose between even different departments if you want to build it for work or if you want to build it for any other type of project. You're more than welcome to do so by following the same pattern that was established around what problem are you fixing, who are you fixing it for, and how will this solution make them feel when they are experiencing it. I'm personally going to be lazy, as always. Going to copy this prompt, going to go to Lovable, and then I'm just going to dump it right in here, right? Full build. I'm just sending it away, no planning, even though I definitely want to encourage you to spend some time doing so. As you can see, I'm really trying to define everything that's needed and who is it needed for and what am I going to use as a database and everything else that we talked about essentially. Now, to keep me honest, I've built you guys a resource, which is basically, among other things, obviously a prompt library and whatnot, a master checklist. When you want to build a real project and you're asking yourself, how do I do that? Like, what does make a project real, right? First, we want to pick something that we actually need and want to use. And in my case, have a good starting prompt, and then try to get a working prototype. I think that's where we are teaching things and things that we talked about on day 7, right? From there, we want to work on authentication, routes, data isolation. Really try to understand what we want users to get protected for. Then we design our database, enable security policies, and test things properly, right? Obviously, this is all done by using a system. We talked about it on day 10. I'm going to build PRDs. I'm going to centralize them as a source of truth inside tasks. I'm going to update my knowledge to enforce the agent to always read it. And then I'm just going to keep executing. For that purpose, I'm going to go back now and start using my companion, right? I'm going to copy this prompt for PRD generation. And obviously, because I took the context for the base prompt from another app, I am not going to use this app. I'm just going to say that I've generated them in Lovable. And instead, I'm going to go to my event app in here, and I am just going to ask Lovable to build these for me. If you ever see something like this, don't worry, you can always refresh. And if the page doesn't load, that's also fine. It will. It just hit a snag. This is one of the reasons why I love systems working, because then even when I run into a problem like this, I know that it's going to get fixed just by running a smooth sequence on top of it, right? So as we are building our PRDs, right, I also want to acknowledge that they help us build forwards, and they only help us moving one step at a time going forward, but we need to document backwards, and we need to understand what was built prior to it. So for that purpose, I like to create a changelog, I like to update my sources of truth, and I like to have them documented in the form of rules, right? If you run into problems while doing anything, such as this problem that I just had, I mean, test the happy paths, right? Try to see how things will turn out, test edge cases, auth boundaries, and then if you do add any debugging logic, clean it up. Don't leave breadcrumbs to everyone on the web how you've done it. Before you even begin thinking about publishing anything, check your security, make sure roles are properly separated, run security scanning, and test as different users in your workflow. And that's how you complete this week 2, basically. This is how we end up confirming that you are indeed ready to proceed. So again, if we go back, I will just continue doing what I've been doing so far and have my 4 PRDs built based on the initial knowledge that the agent had about the project that was transferred over, hopefully with our base prompt. And from there, I'll just let the system execute in the following steps. Okay, now that we've done with the PRDs, let's document them with the central source of truth. Again, everything we did on day 10, I'm just gonna keep on doing it over and over again, because that's really the way I build, right? I'm trying to get these 4 documents that really gave me the high-level overview, broken down into tasks and subtasks that I can just continue to execute one by one, really. And a way to enforce agent behavior by defining the project knowledge base, right? Taking this away, saying I wanted to use the knowledge every time before it does anything, and that the knowledge itself is critical on the sense of like me needing for it to always read and behave in a way that best contributes to getting this app completed. So master plan and tasks being used as sources of truth, documentation always being read, and myself provided with instructions on how to test whatever was completed. Obviously, you want to spend as much time as possible working through your clarifying questions with Lovable. I'm not going to do that now because I want to keep this video short and let you build. So I'm going to just say something like this. Just use your best judgment and implement the best practices for this particular build. So I'm just going to let it ride into it. And then from here, I'm just going to copy this. And I'm just going to queue this up a couple of times and then spend some time again talking a little bit about backwards documentation, maintaining sources of truth. We've done this. This was day 11. I'm not going to repeat it. I want to emphasize it. I just want to say, hey, this is still relevant. This is always going to be relevant, right? So in my case, I just decided that I want to build something. And I think that the criteria for you should be really, how do you implement everything from the checklist, right? How do you implement a build that has authentication, database, that has the right system in place, that also helps you backwards document and is fully securely built and deployed and reviewed, right? As you do all of these steps, please make sure to remember that the better you're at providing context, the more success you'll have. So context while doing file tagging is great. Just use add file name so that you can identify it, or use the visual editor to select the component that you want to see edited, and then screenshot and sketch across things that you want changed, right? So, you know, in our case, we're just like sending stuff away. We're shooting stuff out. As you can see, the app is being built. The system is saying that it's using knowledge, and we're just continuing further and further and further down the build. So as things progress, I will be able to assess their UI on mobile and on desktop. And before we wrap up fully, again, use my prompt, use your prompts, use the resources, anything that you like. You have a prompt library available, knock yourselves out. I'm not going to give you direction on this. You don't need it. You have a system. See you tomorrow.